Hello there, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Here we go again. More decks coming into you from Duskmourn with legendary creatures I've turned into commanders, but this one was already a commander. As you know, Aminatou, the Veil Piercer, was one of the face cards of one of the precons, but I've decided to take my own spin on it, so here we go. For those of you who haven't met Aminatou before, 1 white, blue and black for a 2/4 human wizard. Lost her Planeswalker Spark. She was a Planeswalker originally, but hey, now she's not. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you get to surveil 2. So, look at the top 2 cards, put them back, both in the graveyard, one in the graveyard, one on top, or in top in any order. You know the score. But the second ability is really interesting. Each enchantment card in your hand has Miracle. Its Miracle cost is equal to its mana cost reduced by 4. For those of you who don't know Miracle before, it came back along a while back. I can't remember the exact set it came in. But basically it meant you drew your card, if it had Miracle on it, you could reveal it, and then there was an alternate casting cost for the Miracle. There was one that basically did Wrath of God type effect, if I remember correctly. It cost 1 white when you miracled it. There was a Time Walk one that did 2, 1 blue and 1, I think, something like that. Anyway, Aminatou does this with all the enchantments in your deck, and it drops their cost by 4, which is about right from where the card was in your hand to what the miracle cost was. So, yeah, fun. Yeah. Okay then, here we go. Here's my take on Aminatou. Okay, we'll start at the beginning then. So, first card, Slumbering Keep card. Just because we like when enchantments come into play, we get to scry. It sets up our draw for the next turn for anything that we have miracleizing with Aminatou, so it seems like a reasonable thing. And then, when we have some spare mana, 2 and a white to give it +1/+1 for each enchantment we control, which you can do multiple times, bear that in mind. Anyway, going from there, Gremlin Tamer comes in from the main Duskmourn set as well to give us some gremlins when enchantments enter. Inquisitive Glimmer, also from the main Duskmourn set, cuts the cost down of our enchantment spells. Spirited Companion enters the battlefield, draw a card, you have a little 1/1 enchantment dog. You can miracle this for 1 white mana as well with Aminatou. That works with all the enchantment creatures we're coming through, so just bear that in mind as we're talking about these. Starfield Mystic just cuts the cost down again, and then it gets bigger when enchantments in the graveyard. Underworld Coinsmith just does the whole constellation bit, and whenever an enchantment or enters the battlefield under our control, we gain a life. And then we can do white and black and pay a life for each opponent to lose a life, so it's hardcore, but a little bit of life gain is always fun. Enduring Innocence is from the main set from Duskmourn. Lifelink, whenever one or more creatures you control with power of 2 or less enter, draw a card. Triggers once a turn. When this dies, it comes back as an enchantment. We have a few creatures with power of 2 or less, so it does work. I am looking at you, Gremlin Tamer. There we go. Fear of Infinity. Oh, sorry, wrong. Missed one out. Entity Tracker. Sorry. Enchantments enter, draw a card. Fear of Infinity. Can't block, flying and lifelink, and whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield, we may return it from our graveyard to our hand, so it just keeps coming back, which is quite nice. Hannah, the ship's navigator, returns. Return target artifact or enchantment card from our graveyard to our hands. That has its benefits in this deck entirely. Heliod's Suncrowd is also another enchantment creature, so it costs us 1 white mana with Aminatou's down, and we miracle it. You know the score with this one. We gain life, we chuck around some +1/+1 counters and give our creatures lifelink for 1 and a white. Knight of Doves, whenever an enchantment you control is put in a graveyard from the battlefield, we get a bird token. Nice. Lauren of the Third Path to take out people's enchantments and artifacts we don't like, and then a little bit of card draw for us and a friend. Vatter, the God of the Sea, does the whole upkeep scry trick as well, so that's quite nice. We get to scry at the beginning of our turn. We've got Aminatou in play. Before we draw, we get the miracle, we get the enchantment on top and do the miracle trick. Victor, Valgavoth Essential also comes in, because if we're going to do this, we might as well get the surveilling and the discarding and maybe creatures into play. Ajani's Chosen, just to give us some cactus creatures. We're not really playing any auras in the deck, so it's just basically token generation. Aaliyah, Artful Provocateur, was the first card I went to when I saw Aminatou reappear. Yes, we've not got many creatures with flying, but flying, Death Touch and Lifelink for 4 mana is quite nice. But whenever we cast an artifact or enchantment spell, we get a blue fairy token that is a 2/1 basically, as long as Aaliyah's in play, so it makes perfect sense for me in this deck. Archon of Sun's Grace obviously does the constellation trick, gives us a 2/2 Pegasus every time an enchantment enters the battlefield under our control, and it gives all our Pegasuses lifelink, so we start getting 2/2s with lifelink in the air. Useful. Enduring Curiosity, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to play, we get to draw a card, and when Enduring Curiosity dies, if it was a creature, returns to the battlefield as an enchantment. Okay then. Enduring Tenacity is also the other enchantment creature we've brought in from Duskmourn, and whenever you gain life, target opponent loses that much life, again dies, comes back as enchantment. Heliod, God of the Sun, gives all our creatures vigilance and eventually starts pumping out some 2/1 white cleric enchantment creature tokens. The other version of Heliod, the Radiant Dawn, is also in. When it enters the battlefield, we get to bounce, return target enchantment card that isn't a god from our graveyard to our hand. And then if we can transform Heliod, we get to do the whole cast spells as flash. Spells cost 1 less to cast for each card your opponents have drawn this turn. But it gives everything flash. That is quite nice. Nico, Light of Hope. I did a whole deck on Nico last week. If you haven't seen it, go and check it out. So this is it as well, because I just like the shard tokens. They are other enchantments, and turning our target exiling the non-legendary creatures to turn all our shards into other things can help, especially if we're going to have a big turn. We can make a whole load of tokens off this one, or even better, turn them all into Doomwake Giants for the turn, so you can actually wipe all of your opponent's creatures out. Doomwake, big mean thing in this deck, especially with Aminatou in playing this coming down for 1 mana and you having a lot of mana left to cast enchantments you've hopefully got in your hand. Ghostly Dancers comes in as well from the Duskmourn set. Enchantment enters, we get a 3/1 white spirit creature token with flying, which works very nicely with the Leo as well. Overload or Balemark, I like this card. The impending side of it I've done a couple of times, but when it enters or attacks mill 4, then return non-either side creature or planeswalker from our graveyard to our hand. The Overlord of the Flood Pits also comes in. Whenever it enters attacks, you draw 2 and discard 1, so super loot, I suppose. Fear of Sleep Paralysis from the actual Aminatou constructed deck, pre-con deck, sorry. Enters, or another enchantment enters, whenever we've tapped one target creature and put a stun counter on it, and then you can't remove the stun counters. So if you have this in play and cast a whole load of enchantments, as long as you keep this in play, those creatures are not untapping, so can save you. Aravix, the Mind Flail. This is also kicking around in the Aminatou pre-con deck. I had it before this, but at the beginning of your end step, exile the bottom card of each opponent's library face down for as long as it remains. As long as those cards remain exiled, you may look at them and cast them at any time, spending mana of any colour. And it isn't a creature unless you control 3 or more permanents you don't own. But it should be fairly easy to do this. If you've got 7 mana to put this out in the first place, getting to cast the cards the next turn for things you don't own to turn into a 9/9 is probably going to be straightforward, but I really do like it. Final card, Overlord of the Mistballs. Pops in from the main set. 2/1 white insect creature tokens with flying, which obviously get pumped up by our Provocateur if we need them to. But yeah, attacking with this or entering with this is just going to be like, I don't know, playing something ridiculously hard. But it's just good fun, isn't it? We know that. Right, spells, not many. We went with a few. Just counter spell, Cyclonic Rift, Mana Drain and Damnation. So a couple of counters for things we don't like. A couple of bounces if we need to. Ramp is in the form of Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Jet Medallion, Mindstone, Pearl Medallion, Sapphire Talisman. Each of the talismans we need, and Thought Vessel. But there's one card I have missed off the top, and it probably annoys everybody, but Sensei's Divining Top is in, because at the end of the day, you can manipulate the top of your library to make sure you start miracling as soon as possible. Now, bear in mind we've got a lot of enchantment creatures in here as well, so you probably think this is a low, but if you actually count through the deck, I think it works out to about 28 permanents of enchantments, so we do benefit from this a lot. But these are the straight enchantments. So Court of Cunning, they're all here because I like being the monarch. This is the mill one. Ghostly Prison and Propaganda to protect us. Same card, different colour basically. Ristic Study for the extra card draw, and then the rest of the courts. So the ambition for the everyone loses 3 or discards. Or 6 or 2 if they discard, yeah. Court of Ardenvale lets us return a target permanent card mana value 3 or less from our hand. If we're the Monarch, we get to put it into the play, which is very nice with some of our smaller creatures down here. Gets killed off. It does help quite significantly. Or, you know, some of the artifacts, because they're all under 2 go. Court of Grace gives us a spirit or an angel, depending if we're the Monarch or not. The Court of Lockvein lets us exile top card of an opponent's library and play that card this turn. If you're the Monarch, until the end turn, you may cast a spell from among the cards exiled with Court Lockvein without paying its mana cost. This is great, this card. I really do enjoy it. Anyway, Court of Vantress, beginning your upkeep, choose up to one other target enchantment or artifact. If you're the Monarch, create a token copy of it. If you're not the Monarch, you may have Court of Vantress become a copy of it, except it has this ability. In which case, you'll probably want to maybe cast something like Historian's Bloom to get some soldier tokens. We haven't got any Saga, so I'm not worried about the final chapter bit, but if you are playing a Saga deck with white in it, make sure you pick up Historian's Bloom to play in it, because getting the Angel when the get to the end step is good. You're probably going to copy Sigil of the Empty Throne to get all those extra Angels, or if you're really worried about getting attack, Sphere of Safety slows down everybody. Shark Typhoon are fantastic as ever. Storm of Saruman, just to double up on the spells, and it isn't a non-legendary one, is very nice as well. Well of Ideas gives us a couple of cards, gives our opponents a card, and at the beginning of our draw step we draw 2 cards. So we give everybody 1, but we get 3 a turn, so that's, yeah, like that plan. Baleful Omen, at the beginning of your end step, reveal the top card of your library. If you do, each opponent loses life equal to that card's converted mana cost. For 3 black mana, which is what you're hoping you're going to be paying for this when Aminatou's out, gives everybody a bit of a headache. Mind's Dilation, because who doesn't want to nick people's cards and play with them? And then the 2 big ones. I couldn't play this sort of deck. I'm in an enchantment based deck that's cutting the cost of enchantments down with Miracles, so I had to have one with the Multiverse in. But even more than that, I had to have Omniscience in. If you don't agree with it, you can cut them, put some other enchantments in, but this is me. I love these 2 cards. I can't wait till Omniscience comes back into standard very shortly, and I'm already thinking about decks for it, so yeah, it is one of my favourite cards ever. Anyway, finished enough about that for now, but for now, lands. Command Tower, all the black, white and blue lands, that you'd expect to see all the way through. We have got Field of the Dead because we have enough different types of lands, and we'll get zombies. All the stack lands, everything else, nothing particularly fancy. One thing I will mention that isn't in here is Serra's Sanctum. I was trying to keep the cost down. I could play this on Magic Online. I do have one in my online collection. But I was trying to keep the cost down for this deck because I know there's going to be a card that people look to upgrade. So if you're lucky enough to own a Serra's Sanctum, drop a Plains, put it in, or drop one of the other cards, put it in. If you got one on MTGO, yes, you can include it as well, but it probably does deserve to be in the deck. But for my version for this today, I've ignored it from my MTGO collection, where I mainly play nowadays. So there you go. Anyway, that is my take on Aminatou. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm sure there's going to be enchantments you want to include. I've just picked the ones I like, you know. Black Market Connections I know isn't in there for a fact, you know, things like that. If there's anything you think should be in, let me know in the comments down below. I'd really love it if you could hit the subscribe button before as well, if you haven't been here before. I'm sitting at 534 subscribers here on YouTube as I record this one, so you know, getting a little bit closer to 1,000. Slowly but surely we'll get there. But if you can help out and hit the subscribe button, I'd really appreciate it. If you want to see me play my version of Aminatou, there's also a link down below to my Twitch stream. The next stream will be around at some stage. Don't quite know when yet. There will be one happening at some stage. I know what will be happening, and I'll be talking about that in a separate video later in the week. But for now, thanks for watching. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope to see you again later in the week. Take care. Bye.